Welcome, YouTube friends and family, to today's edition of the Wellness Homesteader. So it is 7 o'clock and it is 52 degrees this morning. So I apologize. They're emptying the dumpsters down the way. So just overlook that if you will, please. You know, even though our frost-free date, and for those of you who are new to my channel, I live in Ohio. I'm in growing zone 6A. Our frost-free date is generally somewhere around the 10th of May. This year it was April 24th, 25th, 26th, right in there. And I foolishly believed it. Usually I'll wait a couple weeks. But I did plant some of my cold weather crops early, and we're going to take a look at just how well they've done. So I planted carrots, spinach, radishes in the veggie pod. Sorry guys, I'm looking at my notes. In my veggie pod over here, which you can't even see, on April 2nd, because I do have a cover for my veggie pod. Y'all look at this. What you girly girls doing? Huh? And unfortunately, Miss Violet, she did come out and play that day, but she's still broody. I'm thinking this has to be the last week of it. But I've learned, just leave her be. She'll come out. One day she'll just be like, I don't know what you're talking about. We're babies. So anyway, God bless her. So then in the garden, I planted turnips. And I don't know if y'all like turnips. I love turnips. These are Nagasaki Akari Kabu turnips, otherwise known as turnips. 50 days to maturity, typically grown in lovely Nagasaki, Japan. So I've shared before, my son has a real love of Asian culture. So not only did I get those, I got Kyoto red carrots. And I'm going to share with you why my carrots might not be doing so well. But anyway, this says direct seed in late winter, early spring, and again late summer for a fall harvest. So I have carrots and turnips planted together. I'm gonna have me a chicken pie here. Hey, hold on guys. Y'all, I watered this morning and I moved the chicken wire. We got another chickie over here. And a kitty cat back here. I just love having my girls out. I might have maybe need like a coat and shoes. I swear, this weather. But at any rate, I moved the chicken wire, so they were like, I think we see a way into the garden. They've done really pretty well. I don't just leave them out all day. Usually 3 or 4 hours in the morning, and they'll put themselves back in the coop. They like to get in the shade, they like to dust bathe, they like to cuddle up together. It's really sweet. Except for Miss Violet, she's kind of my loner. But at any rate, hey, she's a sweetie. Anywho, so back to my turnips. I was like, wow, those are looking really big. So I planted those April 4th. So that would be 26 days plus, today is the 22nd, plus 22 days. That's 48. I found this on the web. Sorry guys. 48 days, and it's 50 days to maturity. So I'm about ready to have turnips. Now, what I will say is, because we've had so many nights really chilly, which shouldn't affect a cold weather tolerant crop, I still think they need a little bit more, but we'll be taking a look at those. The carrots. Y'all, I didn't buy these this year. I bought them last year, and it says a Japanese, this is kind of dirty, Kentucky sweet red type carrots. Silky red carrots have an exceptional texture and sweet flavor. Slender roots grow up to 12 to 18 inches. Must be planted in late summer, fall, or winter, not for spring planting. Wait, I planted them when? Yeah, I planted them in the spring. So the carrots went in the same day as the turnips. They've been in 50 days. What I find is interesting is this doesn't give a days to maturity. It just says sprouts in 12 to 18, ideal temp 50 to 75. Guys, we're going to be in the 80s this week, so this was my bad, but you know what? Sometimes you don't know until you try it. I'm less worried about the ones in the Arrow Garden because they were planted 2 days earlier yet, and I just think they're going to be okay. We're going to see. They may not be as sweet, and they may not grow as long, and they may get sun stressed, but we're going to give it a try. So I've had a lot of questions with you all, and somebody made the kindest comment. They're like, "You're such an amazing gardener." Yeah, no. Master gardener where? I really am not. I make a lot of mistakes. But what I will say is I dedicate myself to growing food, and I do keep up with it. So I thought I would share. Some people were saying, what do you use on your garden? I thought I would share a few things. Because I am an organic gardener, I lose things, just the way it is, to pests. There are a lot of natural type things. One of the things I really like using is neem oil. So it kills eggs, larvae, and adult stages of insects, prevents fungal attacks, multi-purpose fungicide, insecticide, miticide, 3-in-1 product. And I don't have a whole bunch left. It can be used up till the day of harvest. It takes care of spider mites, white flies, rust, powdery mildew, black spot, aphids, white flies, and other insect pests for use on roses, flowers, houseplants, ornamental trees and shrubs, fruits, nuts, and veg. Guys, this is done really well. My pumpkins have a tendency to get powdery mildew. Any kind of squash will. So I can try to link this below. I'm not sure. I might have just picked this up at a garden center. I may not have gotten this through Amazon, but I'm sure they have it. So fertilize, why? You may be wise. You may be saying, we have chickens, why don't you just use manure? So you can't use hot manure. So fresh manure can burn your plants, and you want to let it degrade. So what is in my garden this year, and I only did 2 beds, is what I got from last summer. So that's why you'll see some straw and some bedding in my beds. What are you doing, girly girl? Because, you know, I didn't meticulously pick out all the poo, and it had disintegrated. I've been stashing it in a compost pile behind the fence here, so I will have a lot for even fall. I can probably put it on to be ready for spring planting. It is important that you understand the need of your fruit, vegetable, whatever you're growing. So for example, tomatoes, and we're going to look at my tomatoes, and I'm going to show you how they need nitrogen. They're very nitrogen hungry. So this is Fox Farm Grow Big Liquid Plant Food, and this is 644. So generally your first number is the number for the nitrogen. So this is great for tomatoes, has earthworm castings in it. Let's see. You can use it on vegetables, berries, herbs, roses, bulbs. I'm bleeding. Sorry about that, guys. Gardenias, fruit trees, tomatoes, fuchsias, orchids, hibiscus. Maybe I'll put some on my hibiscus. Oh, I don't have hibiscus. It's, yeah, okay, not that. And succulents. So I do like using this. What I do, y'all, it just works well for me. I have a rain barrel. I figure that's probably the best water I can give them. I mix it in either a 5-gallon bucket or a 1-gallon. You can burn your plants with fertilize, so I'm very, very careful not to you know, I don't measure with my heart, I measure accurately. You shake it. You apply this within 2 weeks of transplanting. At first signs of flowering, you switch to a blooming fertilizer. I'm going to show you in just a minute. And it's a 1/2 teaspoon per gallon every other week. And don't apply when the plants are in direct light. So right now would be a good time to do it because the sun has not come over. So the one I love is liquid plant food. It says for organic gardening. It's the Big Bloom concentrate, and it's made from earthworm castings and bat guano poo. Indoor and outdoor potted plants, roses, vegetables, herbs, berries, flowering shrubs, fuchsia, African violets, orchids, and on and on. Annuals, perennials. And this is, if you notice, a 0, a 0.5, and a 0.7. So after my debacle with my pumpkins last year, I had tons of zucchini and different squashes. Yes, we did, didn't we, Miracle? I'm so sorry, guys. They're headed to the gravel pit, the big trucks. I'm gonna mix some of this up, and this is a tablespoon per gallon once per week. So I'm gonna put this on my pumpkins, but I would use the Grow Big for my tomatoes. I also have some organic fertilizer that I didn't drag out here because I bought it in like a 50-pound bag that I got from Asher Standard. I have a soil remineralizer. So, y'all, here's what I can tell you. No one's going to be expert on everything. Sometimes you're going to plant fall carrots in the spring and be like, whoopsie daisy. You know, I was like, I've grown carrots for years. Why can't I just, I'll just plant these. I didn't even read the package, to be honest about it. Learn what, well, first of all, test your soil, amend your soil. I have a pH device that you can stick in there. So if it's too acidic, you can add ash. If it's not acidic enough, you can add an acidic product or pine needles or whatsoever. So test your soil, rotate your crops. That's super important. Don't plant the same thing in the same bed year after year after year, because it will deplete your soil even if you're amending and remineralizing it. Now, the 2 beds I have in front are brand new beds to me this year. The soil was put in the fall, and y'all, it's totally homegrown from my landscape guy. He just, all of the leaves and things, he just composts them, and it makes amazing soil. And I've never had any problem growing with the soil that he brings. It's so expensive. Soil is so expensive to buy for raised beds in the bag. It just takes so much, especially because my new ones are so tall. So another thing I do recommend is, instead of having to pull up and see, is this ready? You know, save your seed packets or save the website you got them from. I basically just have my notes so far from this year. I haven't even drawn everything out because I have planted and then planted a little more and planted a little more. One other thing I would encourage you to do to attract pollinators to your garden, plant some flowers, guys. Buy an inexpensive package of zinnia seeds. They're so easy to grow. They make beautiful cut flowers. I have a lot in my garden this year. I also have some mini sunflowers. I hope come up. Some big sunflowers, which I pray come up. So those are some of my top tips. The other thing I would say is, I didn't bring any out, but y'all, gardening books are a dime a dozen, and some are good and some aren't so good. So what I like to do is go to the library, check out a couple gardening books, find one that covers what I need to know, and then I purchase it, usually off of Abe or Thrift Books used, because why pay full price, right? So that way you don't end up with a bunch of really pretty coffee table books that don't help you in your gardening endeavor. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is something that's highly controversial, and I've been soundly criticized for this, but I want to share it with you. So stay tuned. And y'all, I'll talk about the elephant in the room before I talk about controversy. Hello, Fancy Ray. Yeah. I do look a bit pale today. Y'all, I think I've shared before, my mom has severe macular degeneration. Yeah, she does. You want to come and see Mommy? And always check with your physician, but one of the recommendations for me has been to take AREDS, which is a specific type of vitamin that has been proven proven to arrest the development of macular degeneration. Now, to my knowledge, I don't have it. I think I see fine. However, it has a tendency to be very genetic. So what I will tell you all, after you check with your physician or your eye doctor, don't take them on an empty stomach. I did that, and that did not stay down very long. So excuse my paleness this morning, but you know, we're family, y'all. It doesn't really matter. I did want to grab a couple books. This one is new to me this year. And hello, Danette. She loaned me this book, and I was like, I must have it. So I'm sure you all have heard of Melissa Norris. I think she's on YouTube, but I know she's on Instagram. And this is how to grow a year's worth of sustainable and healthy food. So it actually has a chart in here. Let me see if I can find it. Hang on, wait for it. It has a lot of information. Okay, here we go. So it will tell you, like, let's say your family likes garlic. If you plant and grow 12 pounds of garlic, you're going to get 5 quarts of canned garlic, etc., etc. But it actually will tell you, like, per person, how many plants to plant. Now, I'm not that exact, y'all. Dreams and goals, right? But I just find this to be a really good, basic, all-around book. And sometimes reviewing the basics can help you if you're struggling. We are not going to have blossom rot this year on our pumpkins. The other book that I really, really like is called The Resilient Gardener. Creative, Productive Gardening for Good Times and Bad. This, I think, was a 2020 book. I'm pretty sure. 2010. Oh, they foretold of what was to come. But just lots of pretty pictures, lots of good information. And y'all, when all else fails, best tips for growing, fill in the blank, you know. What do we do before Google? That has helped me a lot too. Which brings me to the controversy. Don't come for me, y'all. I mulch my garden. I mulch it with commercially purchased mulch. Why? Number one, it does really cut down on weeds. Weeds are not only a lot of work and unattractive, they suck the life right out of your plants. They suck the water, they suck nutrients. They can actually overtake. So it is really important to keep your weed burden down. Number two, mulch helps the garden soil to retain its moisture. So I water every single day because my garden is in full sun from about 11:30 till the sun sets. So I have to water heavily. My rain barrel is only 50 gallons, so I primarily use that water for mixing up my potions and my fertilize, because 50 gallons isn't going to do squat for the garden. It's not going to be enough. That's only 10 5-gallon buckets. It's not enough. The other reason, besides conserving water, keeping the weeds down, is I think it protects your plants from getting sunburned. So when you look at a pumpkin vine, once you've got 2 or 3 starts, you want to stop it from vining more because you want it to put the energy into growing the pumpkins. But it's a very small stalk, as is many vining things. So if you have plenty of mulch to protect those roots, it really does, in my opinion, make a difference. Now, I don't put it on this thick. I put it on like maybe an inch thick. So I did get my mulch yesterday. I just haven't had the energy to schlep it out of the car. But I thought we would do just a really quick garden tour. I'm going to share some thoughts with you about what I'm going to be doing going forward, what I might put in when I harvest my turnips and carrots. So I hope you'll stay tuned. So I wanted to just share with you the composition of this dirt. There are a lot of leaves, a few mushrooms, but I'm telling you, this grows some really, really healthy plants. And there's some rocks. So this was the early pie that we started indoors, but as you see, I've already lost the tip. So we're gonna, oops, well, I'm gonna have to wait. I really think this needs some mulch. I have more pie pumpkins and jack-o'-lanterns planted throughout. This, y'all, and right here, oh good, it's coming up, are my loofah. And y'all, I just don't have very high hopes for it. So it looks as if it's getting sort of a sunburn. And y'all, the never-ending weeds. So it'll start out looking green like this, and then it'll turn a funky color. So we'll see. A critter got into that, but we do have a lot more pumpkins growing here. And then this is a jack-o'-lantern type pumpkin, not an eating pumpkin. So again, this has chicken manure from last summer. I have not, ouch, put the cover on this yet because I really don't have enough viney stuff yet to make sense. And I also know that pumpkins need a lot of sunlight, so I may end up not putting the mesh over top this year and do something a little different with it next year. But, you know, live and learn. I had a plan, I didn't measure well. So here are my carrots, and as you see, I must have sneezed right there and just dumped a bunch, but some are well spaced, some are like in clobs. But I'm just gonna let these bear out what they will. But y'all, look at my turnips. Look at my beautiful turnips. Look how pretty that is gonna be. So these got really big. These are not as big. So I'm just gonna give it a little bit more time, even though it's been close to our 50 days, and just make sure they flesh out. I did not thin them, so these may be bigger because they weren't as close together. I have 6 broccoli, and I do have chicken wire over everything, and 3 cabbages. And you know, this is something that will need the neem oil for sure. So I've got a little bit of munching going on already, but not terrible. And that's just part of not using chemicals, right, Marigold? And in case y'all are wondering what's up with her feathers, she's always had a white spot on her back and in different spots, so she must be somewhat of a mix. Okay, guys. Peppers. So my peppers look really good, but look what's happening. Yeah, I have all the weeds. So I need to get these all pulled out, get them well mulched in as well. For my, this is lemon balm, this is mint, and then I have all this mint here. That's lemon balm. So I need to pull out this, don't even know what it is. Some kind of strange plant. I'm not sure what all that spit looking stuff is, but we need to dig out the dandelions. I just have not gotten to it yet. And I like my mint and lemon balm dried for tea, and I primarily use the mint for the girls in their laying boxes. They love it. All right, let's talk a little bit about tomatoes, guys. So I'm super shocked, but looky here. I have a tomato. I can't tell you in Ohio when on May 22nd I've had a little tomato. So this guy is doing really good. These are doing well. You can see I've got some blooms getting ready to start on all of these. But then when you look out further, you may notice some of mine are perhaps a little bit paler green on the bottom, but then a rich green on the top. And you can see exactly when I upped their nitrogen feedings. Huge dandelion there I need to get out. So I will continue to feed them heavily until they come out of their funk. Anything like this, I don't want to do it without the proper tool well, I guess I can with my fingernail, I will take off so that the plant doesn't put energy into repairing a leaf rather than bearing fruit. Some of these are just different color in general because they're cherry tomatoes. This is a sugar bomb. That's an orange spice cherry tomato. So down at this end are cherry tomatoes. Looks like I need to fix this too. Here I have my bush beans. Looks like one there didn't come up, but I didn't plant as many as I might have. And oddly enough, this row came up well, this row did not. That is actually weed. So I'm gonna have to replant, and that's an important part of checking on your garden, making sure that you're, you know, giving it a good look over and head off problems early. My garlic, and this should probably be ready late next month. Look at those girly girls. All right. So this, guys, I guess I'm incapable of planting one seed. This is my butternut squash. So I have a pretty good row and somewhat of a row, and then just one here, but over here in the corner, well, and there is one as well, I planted flowers, and I'm not even sure. Annual. Yeah, oh, it's a zinnia. I thought it was. So we'll pull out, you know, the clover and such. But this will attract a lot of pollinators to the garden as well. Over here we have plenty of zucchini. So as some of these doubled up ones grow, I may, you know, like spread one to here. But they are coming up, believe it or not. This one still has its seed attached, as does this one. And I love having zucchini to freeze dry or eat fresh. I love it raw. So this should give me a gracious plenty. Over here is our onions, which you can see also need weeded. And you may notice that there's a giant onion here with a flower on the end. So this wintered over, as did this one, and this will make onion seeds. So I'm going to take advantage of that fact. And when these are done, I can actually plant some more from seed. Wow, lots of weeds in this. So I have 4 cucumbers. I did purchase these. I did not buy them. And I think this is a small sunflower type thing here. Here. We have some more zinnias there in the corner. That almost looks like a volunteer tomato from last year. So, yeah. So we have a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But, again, I'll make better use of this. I can replant once I harvest my turnips. So there are a lot of ways to really stretch your growing season. Up here on the deck, we have our 2 sage, which I did purchase. Plants, I didn't do it from seed. Rosemary plants, basil plants, and I've just watered so they look a little wilty, but y'all look at those wave petunias and they smell amazing. My arrow garden is doing great. It looks like I'm not going to have any problem growing some cherry tomatoes. I have 3 of those in here. Yeah, it took all the water. In here, y'all, this is the worst spinach I think I've ever seen. And one of my friends was overlooking and she was like, yep, mine looks just like that too. So I don't know, maybe it will come out of it. We have radishes almost ready, but those have been planted again since April 2nd. That is a chamomile. We're gonna have plenty of chive seeds, right? I have a couple that didn't look so good, cherry tomatoes, and I went ahead and planted them in here and they seem happy. And then again, these non-spring planting carrots. So we'll just see what we get from it. But our radishes are definitely growing well. Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. It wasn't anything terribly exciting, was it? But I do get questions about what products I use since I don't use chemicals. I also wanted to share with y'all, I am very susceptible to poison ivy. I have found a concoction that will kill it without having to use like Roundup or one of those. You just take a gallon jug of white vinegar, add 1 cup of salt, and spray the leaves, and you have to do it multiple times, but it will eventually kill it. I usually have, you know, boo-boos and bug bites, poison ivy all summer long, so I'm hoping this year, I killed a lot of it last year, a lot of it, and then there was a lot on the fence section that had to be replaced, so it's gone. So hopefully we won't get poison ivy this year. I will plan to see you all for Throwback Thursday. Have a fun little recipe, and it's not so much a gadget, but a lifestyle food item from the 1950s. So I hope you will stay tuned for that. If you do me a big favor, please go ahead and smash that like button. Drop me a comment below. Do you have any questions that maybe I could answer about products that I like? I'm a big fan of the Fox Farm items. Really, aside from neem oil, I haven't really used any pesticides. So if you have a good suggestion, I'd love to hear that as well. So until I see you again, be healthy, be well, be blessed, take care.